besides Looney Tunes, are there any other like cartoons that like have just stood the test of time and you could introduce to kids at any age and they'd be like all over it? Obviously, besides Mickey and that sort of thing as well.
Oh, too bad you said Mickey and Friends, because I can't say the Donald Duck Nazi ones.
Whoa.
Where he's got the little Sharpie on the end of his bill.
Yeah, that's not okay. Why did they think that was okay?
I don't know.
Like
It's propaganda stuff.
Yeah.
Or where Japanese guys are getting punched by Superman, and these are not sensitive depictions of Asian people. I don't know, like a timeless. I mean, those you're picking the timeless cartoons. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Wow, do I just not care about cartoons that much? I can't believe that would be true.
I don't feel like that's true.
He-Man.
He-Man?
He-Man's garbage.
Whoa.
You gone back and watched He-Man?
No.
It's terrible. It's not a good show.
They're going to redo it, though, aren't they?
They've been working on a live-action movie for a long time, which may or may not get made, and they cast Noah Centineo. An actor nobody's heard of, and now they're going to do the Kevin Smith animated thing, which that's going to be great. Do they have sarcasm in Eternia is what I need to know.
Yes. Is there going to be Prince Adam? That's what I need to know.
No, I want to answer your real. Oh, you're saying that get rid of Prince Adam?
I don't know.
Like how there's no Clark in any of the new Superman movies because who cares about Clark Kent when like Clark Kent was the whole point?
Yeah, I mean...
Is he was a person, like a real person. It never mattered if Batman was dating Vicky Vale or whatever. That's all just superfluous to his mission. But Superman is like a real person.
Yes.
And it's painful for him to have to pretend to be a coward and run away from Metallo when... he has to go change into Superman and save the city.
Well, do you think that's the same?
And Lois is like, Clark, well, what a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, do you think the same is true as Prince Adam? Like he can't.
No.
Oh.
Because none of those characters are developed at all.
Oh, okay.
There's just Tila's maybe like, hey, where's he going? But his secret identity was just totally. And his cat has a secret identity too.
That's so weird.
Boy.
Why does his cat have a secret identity? Yeah.
It's kind of like Cringer, but he's got a mask and a saddle on, so it cannot be
the same
green and yellow striped tiger.
Same cat.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
There are a dime a dozen here in Eternia. I can't answer your question. At least I don't want to move forward until I can. I'm sure there's a lot of great examples that are completely slipping my mind right now, but you know what? I say this without experience because I honestly don't know if I've watched an entire episode, but maybe SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, sure. I like SpongeBob.
That's so solid. It's been on so long.
It has been on,
and it's proved its ability to last. Of course, this CG movie will kill it, right?
Oh boy!
Thanks for stopping by, Keanu, to see us off.
Right.
And it's funny from what I understand, and well performed
funny.
And creative, and it's for all ages.
Yes.
And everything that entails, adult jokes, kid jokes. So yeah, maybe that.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
It's a mite better than the Granny trying to hit. She hits Sylvester with her umbrella.
Yeah, and then Tweety Bird gets away.
And the pipe part of the metal part of the umbrella is like a cat shape when it comes back up.
Sure, yeah.
Like that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Tweety Bird's just gaslighting Granny into thinking that I don't know.
Great. Are you looking forward to the new Space Jam movie?
No, God, no.
No?
No. I can't look backwards to the old one.
Fair. I mean, don't you think that the old one came at the right time, right place?
Yeah. $1.3 billion of merchandise sales.
Yeah. But
speaking of sports, what a dropped ball.
Oh, basketball?
Yeah, no, Space Jam 2.
Oh, Space Jam 2. Yeah.
What was the problem?
I don't know.
I know the first one was drubbed critically. It didn't even really make a lot of money in the theater, but it led to millions of, and maybe they're sweetening that up. Maybe they're just adding WB store profits into that. How do you know if it's a Bugs sale or specifically a Bugs in his gym shorts, his basketball shorts from Space Jam sale? Is this just Lola Bunny real dolls that we're talking about here?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that meant that much in sales.
I know.
It's like these movies, why do they keep making these Transformers movies? Because they do fantastic in China. People love them.
Yeah.
They make more money than they do here.
Yeah.
So, like, just make Space Jam 2. Get Bugsy Mogues. It doesn't matter who wants... If Jordan doesn't want to do it, it doesn't matter. Just get anybody.
Right. Get somebody else. Get in there and do it. Yeah. Make Charles Barkley the main guy or something like that. Like, 'cause he was in the first one. So, yeah. Focus on somebody else.
Yeah, he was a dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're doing. Supposedly his dog was maybe named after Charles Barkley.
He's literally... Okay, anyway. It's Muggsy
Barkley.
Bogues. I said Bugsy Mogues, but I have dyslexia. So.
It's all good. Okay.
But I do like Jekyll Morton. I think that he's the GOAT.
Goat?
I wish I could have reversed the letters and goat on the fly as well, but you wouldn't have noticed. Welcome to the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikon Hana.
And a low energy Sunday.
Uh-oh. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up a couple notches. Bring up the energy.
Come on, guys. We got to get it up. We got to get the energy
All right.
up.
Do I sound like I'm like an NPR spokesperson or something like that?
No, you don't.
Oh, okay.
Although that would, similar neighborhood.
Okay. All right.
But that's even they turn it around because it's all like the president decided to nuke Pyongyang today. It's all, but then as soon as it's time to sell something, like, come on, everybody, we need 14 more people.
Yeah.
Call in, and it's us. And I always talk about how I hate Pledge Week. I hate it.
Yes.
Mostly because I can't turn it off. I've already given, but there's no way out for me. If they somehow broke into your broadcast and like stopped it, or you can enter a code into your radio and just stop hearing them beg for money.
Yep.
And these are professional broadcasters who have literally done this for 20, 25 years.
Yep.
And every time it's Pledge Week, it slows down to a crawl.
Yep.
And they can't even keep a dialogue going. And listeners to this show will know that I can talk about anything forever without barely taking a breath. But the second that it's time for them to talk about how people need to give their money, it's like, oh, well, I don't know. Do we have the thing? Okay. Oh, yeah. So why, Judy, tell me why people should give. Oh, it's, people should really give. It's so great. It's such a break from Trump, shot fire out of his butt today. And then, I don't know.
It's true. And
they look unprofessional.
This past week was actually Pledge Week.
Oh, God.
I
thought I sensed a disturbance in the force.
I was listening to the radio, and it was like, well, they're chatty more than usual. That means it's Pledge Week.
Flip over.
Yep.
Flip over to the classic rock station.
But for whatever reason,
keep
I was stubborn and was like, I'm going to just keep listening to it. And like you hear like 3 songs, and then they're back, and it's like, oh, it's interminable.
Oh, you're listening to the radio station.
Yeah.
I'm doing a great job. I told you, it's not only it's low energy Sunday, and it's complete. It's brick to the head Sunday too. I'm gonna try to get through this.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best.
And it's too bad too because we've got a really great topic to talk about.
We do.
Yeah, but back to what you were saying.
Whoa.
No, seriously though. But you're on. So they're in our town. We are an NPR town.
Yes, we are.
And we have 3 different ones. We have a classical station,
Yep,
a talking news, and then a take it.
It's called The Current, and it has like new music, but it has like classical rock. And stuff like
I guess
that too,
people already know where we live.
Okay,
so
well.
There you go. You could have just said it's modern alternative.
Okay, sorry, modern alternative,
adult alternative.
Yeah,
but not that conjures visions of train. It's what is it? It's the kind of show where some DJ with a weird British accent comes on, and he'll play James Brown, The Kinks, and Bikini Kill like in a three play.
Yeah, right. Maybe throw some Lana
and then
Del
send
Rey
us off
in
to
there.
20 minutes of museum endorsements or
Sure.
local theater ads or whatever. Don't tell me there's
exactly.
no ads. Come on.
Yeah. They actually, so this Pledge Week or what have you, they, like, how like soccer teams have like they'll have like knitted like scarves
Sure.
for their team and like rah rah,
Rah rah, yes.
So like for the 3 different stations, they have different knitted scarves that has the names of the stations, and it's supposed to get people to rally behind like their favorite. Like, oh, I like news. Oh, I like classical.
That, you know what the competition is? Have they done that before? That's a good idea.
They have. I don't think they have before. I think this is a new thing.
Oh.
So
Again. This has been going for like 60 years.
I know.
When was the grant for it was LBJ, right? That did the
probably
grant for public arts or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's been almost 60 years.
Yeah.
This is what they came up with just now.
Yes, exactly.
I think my point is made. Welcome to the show. Today we'll be talking about all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment, and we're also going to be talking about a very special subject.
Yes.
Just a few days ago, the 21st actually, was the anniversary of the death of Dwayne McDuffie.
Yes.
Now, I'll say this. The day before that was Dwayne McDuffie's birthday. So it's like, why celebrate his death? Well, we were celebrating his birthday, too. If you
didn't realize that.
Depending on, I don't know
harsh.
if it's 21 hours, 22 hours, I don't know.
Wow.
But anyway.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah, but it makes it really easy. It's like Shakespeare.
I guess.
Right?
Shakespeare died around his birthday, too?
Didn't he?
I believe you.
You would have believed me right up to that point.
I believe you.
You would have believed me. Yeah, and Dwayne McDuffie, if you don't know, was a comic book writer, a television writer. Mm-hmm. He was he worked in animation. He was an animator, but he wrote for animation.
Yes.
He created the TV show Static Shock. He worked on the TV show Ben 10, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited, the Warner Brothers shows, and also wrote some of the DC movies, the recent DC animated movies.
Sure.
And he created a comic book company called Milestone Media, which was owned and operated by minority creators.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the list of things that I should have a list somewhere. In fact, I think I can find one when we get to the segment. But the list of things that he created or contributed to is ridiculous. What I'll give you this now because we probably will keep this out of the segment. But what I like the most about him is he's a guy who thought about media and he thought about the kinds of things that we think about on this show. Mm-hmm. The tropes. The meta storytelling aspect, just the weird idea that we're all watching this little screen like our entire lives,
right? And
as such, he came up with the Tommy Westphall hypothesis.
That's the kid with the snow globe, right?
Yes, Tommy Westphall was a character. He was a son of one of the characters on St. Elsewhere, and he was an autistic child. Yes. And at the season finale of St. Elsewhere, it pulls back from the hospital, and it's revealed that the hospital is inside a snow globe that the kid is playing with.
Yes. So none of the people are real.
No, because I don't remember the scene exactly. I did watch it. I think the kid's dad is like, well, I'm going to work, and he does not have like a doctor's coat on. It becomes clear that this is another reality. This is, and all well and good, weird flex, but okay.
Yeah.
But that stuck with people like me and like Dwayne, and he on a blog post basically said, wait a minute, because characters from other shows have crossed over with St. Elsewhere. People from St. Elsewhere have been in other shows.
Yes.
That means that in those shows, if people from other shows have been in those shows, like if the Lenny and Squiggy and Laverne and Shirley show up on Happy Days, then they're in the same world, right?
Right.
And people have gone and created charts and things like that, and have proven essentially that every single TV show ever is connected, except Battlestar Galactica.
Well, future space, so
right,
yeah,
and maybe I don't know, Star Trek, maybe not. I bet you could find Detective Munch hanging out in Star
I was
Trek
gonna
somewhere.
say he isn't he like one of the characters who has shown up on the most shows or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Arrested Development.
Yes.
And a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So anyway, it's amazing. That's the kind of creative guy that he was, and that's what really fueled his creativity. And he was a smart guy and a funny guy. And so we just thought on this eve of his birth and his passing that we would honor him, and that's what we're going to do today by talking about. We had a lot of choices.
Yes,
we could have looked at any one of his comic books, Static Shock, but we decided to look at his cartoons and to look at specifically a couple episodes of the Justice League cartoon.
Yes,
and so we'll be talking about that, episodes that he wrote. And, of course, he contributed heavily to the storylining of that series. I don't really know how they did it because there's, like any show, it's credited to one or two people. But I'm sure that there was a writer's room environment where they were bouncing things off each other. Yeah. So, but anyway, these are a couple episodes with his names on them.
Yes.
And we will be talking about that later.
Exactly.
Anything else? Strong start. It's a strong start, guys. It was really great.
Oh my god.
It's Sunday.
Really feeling it.
Yeah, a shock.
Yes.
A static shock.
A static shock.
To get us going.
Yeah.
Into the news. Let's talk flat Earth.
Oh my gosh. Okay. If we must, we must.
I guess we have to. Sorry.
Okay. All right. That's all right.
One of the most famous flat earthers, I didn't know this, but a guy named Mad Mike Hughes has died. He was a flat Earth advocate, and his plan, what he wanted to do, was create his own rocket. See, he's not gonna let the man tell you
get into
what
his
to
head.
do. Right.
Yeah.
Forget these photographs of Earth from space. Forget the fact that GPS exists as a technology. Forget the fact that when a ship sails away, you can't see it anymore.
Right.
He wants to see it with his own eyes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has faith that the Earth is flat. And I would say, couldn't you then also have faith that it's round, since everybody knows that it's round?
Yeah, I know.
And many experiments can prove that it's round.
Right.
Why do shadows move? Lots of good stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, his plan was he was going to build his own rocket. He's done this a couple times. Launch it and ... profit.
Right. Right. Because he was going to prove that it was flat somehow.
I'm sure he's been in a tall building.
Sure.
When he looked to the horizon
Yes.
and he didn't see Tokyo, didn't he think, well, that's one against me?
Obviously not.
Well, I don't want to ridicule him on the weekend of his death, but that's what he was doing. He was in one of his rockets. He launched it. I think the parachute failed. And yeah, he was passed away. And he was crowdfunded by people. I blame all of them for his death.
Yeah. How could you not?
They were filming the launch for a Science Channel series, Homemade Astronauts. And I blame them for his death too.
Yeah, couldn't somebody have stepped in and helped?
No,
or,
many people stepped in.
Okay.
Galileo, Archimedes.
Well, yeah,
People have been just stepping in and stepping in and stepping in.
That's fair. I think it's bad news that he tried to build his own rocket.
Well, I just don't know, how high did he think that he needed to get?
Right.
What does he think? Do you know anything about flat earthers? I'll tell you, I don't know why they believe this.
I don't either.
Except for, I get distrusting authority. I get seeing is believing. I get all that.
Right.
But I also get, I've never been to Korea, but I understand that kimchi comes from somewhere.
Right.
And my friend Mike comes from somewhere.
Right.
I know that Korea is real. I don't need to see it.
Right.
So you can just look on, schedules of airline flights and go, well, where are these flights going? People who have flown to Australia, what are they, just sitting in a box and you shake it back and forth?
No.
And then a guy comes on and he goes, the cabin service will be starting soon. But they literally believe that. They believe that Australia isn't real. Some of them do. Okay. And then if you call there, the calls are routed to an office somewhere where people say good day when they pick up the phone.
Right. Well, and then you would think, wouldn't satellite videos be sufficient, or is that
faked? It's all computer.
Oh, it's okay. Right. It's faked. It's the government. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would be interested to know how high he was planning on going.
I would be interested to know, speaking of flat circles, the overlap of the circles between people that think the moon landing was faked and people that think that the Earth is flat, because they are not one circle. I bet that that is a Venn diagram.
You're right. Yeah, for sure.
And if you believe that the moon landing was faked but don't believe flat Earth, why?
Yeah, good point.
We think that Buzz Aldrin is a fraud and a charlatan.
Right.
Which he might actually be.
But, they filmed it on a soundstage.
He walked on the moon, though.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Kubrick did.
Right.
I saw a cartoon that was great. It was it wasn't that the mystery was that, not that Kubrick agreed to film the moon landing, but that he wanted to do 139 takes. And the astronauts were exhausted. Is this how you want it, Mr. Kubrick? Please, over. So, look, I think you have to take the good with the bad as far as people go, and you can still salute the human spirit, and so we salute Mad Mike Hughes for striving to reach
Yeah.
a goal,
Right.
which is easily disprovable.
Yeah.
But still, a hero to some.
Yes. Wow.
How do you come back from that?
I don't know.
I think we
That's
should
kind of
just quit.
depressing. Yeah, maybe we should just say aloha and end the episode.
Mahalo?
Yeah. You can say aloha, say hello and goodbye, right?
Yeah, and Melikalikimaka
Yeah, right.
is the wise way to say Merry Christmas.
Right.
This'll depress you.
Oh, boy.
Benioff and Weiss, the dudes behind Game of Thrones, are co-producing a Sandra Oh Netflix series.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
No, Sandra Oh. Say no. Just say no.
Transparent's Jay Duplass is poised to star. So we've got the Benioffs, we got the Duplass brothers.
No.
Can we there's a special delivery for Sandra Oh at the front desk. And we say, where's this delivery? Bag over the head, drive
just
away.
get her
and
out
then
of
just
there.
drive away from a burning studio.
Yeah. I think-
Everyone was claimed. Controversial creators, Benioff and Weiss.
Yes. Yeah.
R.I.P. 2020.
Wow. Yeah.
I'd save her is what I'm saying.
I think
But
she
so
needs
far,
to be
everybody else
saved.
here, this looks like a set fire situation.
This is bad, man.
It's called The Chair. It is a 6-episode dramedy, and it's going to revolve around the chair, not the puffy chair. That's a different Duplass movie.
Thinking of that, actually.
Kind of history with those guys.
Yeah.
We're going to have to rumble it out. Just mumble it out.
Ooh.
Let's get ready to mumble. The chair of an English department at a large university.
Oh. Okay. I get it.
Could be good. If she gets stung by a bee, she'd be the puffy chair.
Oh my gosh.
I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Yes, let's.
Although I want you to say something on this next one.
Okay.
So it was neck and neck. It was a race. It was a sled race. But you don't race Sonic. And it looks like Sonic is going to beat out Call of the Wild for this weekend.
Well, good.
By a pointy black nose. What do you think that Sonic's nose is wet?
Oh my gosh.
If you
I
text
don't
it,
know.
would it be like, oh, like,
Yeah,
like
maybe.
a dog's nose?
Yeah. I think he's.
And he'd be like, hey, I'm not Pinocchio. Some of the quips could have been better.
I know. Well, but like, why did they decide for Call of the Wild? Why did they decide, let's make the dog huge?
To make a human being run around on all fours and then turn him into a dog? You saw that, right?
No, I think
Well, I know we've got our show art.
Wow. I think I must
They
have marked
golemed
that
the
out.
dog.
That's weird. Why,
Yeah.
why would you do that? We have dogs.
We
They
have the
exist.
technology.
Yeah.
We have the feats.
Oh my gosh.
The toe bean feats.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just weirded out by it because I think one thing about this movie, when I saw the first trailer, because I've heard of Call of the Wild, it's a pretty, it's a classic book. I haven't actually read it, but I, can understand, I know a little bit about what it's about. But when I saw this first trailer, I didn't think Call of the Wild, to me, it doesn't like act upon the classicness of the book. It's trying to go in a different direction, and I don't understand why.
What's the classicness of the book?
Well, is the dog a wolf in the book or no? Okay. I don't know. I just don't feel like they're I think that they're trying to go in a different direction than the book is actually going.
I agree.
Is that okay?
Mostly because all of Jack London's stuff is fatalistic. It sits firmly in that turn of the. I never know which one is turning. Is the old one turning or is the new one turning?
I don't know.
Who's holding the scythe here?
Yeah.
Anyway, in the late 1800s, early 1900s,
yes,
it was a real popular wave of realism, right?
Sure.
Naturalism.
Yeah.
And pitting depressing novels about man fighting against the elements, man fighting against nature, and that's what his books are. And then, and they're kind of depressing.
Yeah.
And then you make that into a Disney movie.
And
Come on, Buck!
It's like,
I love you, Buck.
Yeah.
It's like making Bukowski novel into a teen sex party.
Yeah, it's weird. It's off-putting, and it's one of those books that it technically is for kids, but I feel like you can go into a bookstore and you'll find it in the kids section, but you also find it like in the adult section.
Call of the Wild?
Yeah.
I guess
It's
one of those like teen classics. Like Penguin would have a line.
Okay, sure.
Of teen Tessa the Derber, maybe not that one, but Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Which literature that all comes from the same block of time.
Right.
What's going to happen when this is not a old man yelling at a cloud thing? What's going to happen when we? Because I've already noticed this. I'm a little behind because I grew up, liking the things that my parents' generation did, which
sure.
I know we all did, but I took it back a little bit. So like I like all this like Henny Youngman humor and like the original Carol Burnett show. And all this stuff, and so there's a lot of references. The references in that are like they're doing like a Gone with the Wind. I know Gone with the Wind just recently came back into the zeitgeist.
Yeah, I know.
Pretend this was recorded before, and I'm a genius. All these like cultural touchstones that are almost 100 years old now.
Yeah,
that can't last forever. The few millennial friends I have don't understand those references,
no,
and I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying they should.
Right.
But like when Tom sticks the shotgun in the mouse hole, and then Jerry bangs a hole in the wall, and he bends the gun so it comes out and it's pointing at Tom's head.
Right.
Kids know about that because it's a meme, but they don't know what it's from, and they don't know why that shotgun is bent, and they don't know that you can just hook your finger in a mouse hole and you can drag it. Did you know that?
Well, since I've watched those cartoons,
I don't know how we got here, but the point is, Call of the Wild. Yeah, it's they Disneyfied it.
Yeah, and I think that takes away from the story.
You know what takes away from the story?
What?
Weird interpretations of characters like Anne with an E.
Oh, boy.
Moving into its 18th season. No, that's not true. On Netflix.
Third or fourth season.
Which I was surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to watch it, but I was just flipping through. I think I watched the trailer for it. And Anne with an
E. Yeah.
Didn't seem very good.
No.
You gotta nail the main role, and I didn't think their Anne was any good.
No.
And there's a couple other like child actors, and she was like, I think she's got like a Eastern Indian friend now. It's like, okay, but I mean, okay, all right, but what?
Yeah, I know.
These two young actresses were not. They're like, let's get a peanut butter sandwich, and then the adults are like, oh, we don't have any peanut butter sandwiches here in Green Gables.
Right.
Like, well, did you tell the kids to act?
Yeah, right? Like, did you tell the kids this is a different time and they need to
Let's keep beating up on kids.
Oh, boy.
Did you see the leaked Batman footage?
The footage?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I did.
Well,
I've seen the first looks of Pattinson's.
Good thing your chair is on a swivel.
Oh, boy.
Because you're going to look at the Just Enough Trope Monitor.
Yes.
Better name. Trope-Monitor.
Okay.
And you're going to see a picture of Robert Pattinson's stunt double.
Okay.
In the Batman costume. So peep them ears.
Yeah, those ears are very pointy.
They are.
They're super pointy.
They are. If you Bane threw Batman into a wall, he'd stick. This looks like the Bat Cycle.
Yes.
You can see he's wearing hockey pads.
Yeah.
It's kind of a low-tech suit or, that's just some other stuff. And then the video, he crashes the bike, but apparently he was okay.
Okay.
So people were wondering, like, what are the things? What are these?
Oh, those look like darts or something on his wrist.
Yeah, wrist guards.
Yeah. They look like maybe like poison darts or something.
I've heard zip ties.
Oh.
Don't cops have like zip tie holders that are like that so they can deploy them real fast?
Maybe, yeah. I guess I could see that. Like maybe he could like zip tie like criminals, like he just points it at them and it goes around their wrists or something like that.
Or if they say, "Are those hockey pads?" Hockey pads. And I love how the ears on his cycle are pointy too.
I know, right?
It's all on brand. What do you think?
I think it looks okay. I know that it's been pointed out that there's like the bat symbol on his chest and it's like made out of guns. So I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. And like people have speculated, is it the specific gun that killed his parents?
You're just talking about something we've already talked about.
Well,
Do you know that Matt Reeves directed The Pallbearer in 1996?
Isn't that
one of
David
the worst
Schwimmer
films
movie?
I've ever seen.
I don't think I ever saw
I
it.
I love walking out of movies.
I do.
I think this was a VHS. I think I just turned it off. I didn't even go fold my laundry. I was just like, no.
I am done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to this.
Oh boy.
No, he did all those ape movies that people go, something over. We should really come up with a saying for that. So I don't know. We'll have to see. There's so many things that depend. A Batman movie depends on so many things. What I'm saying to be good.
This is true.
I don't know what those things are, and that's the problem. Nobody does.
Do you think having the
nipples on the bats? Yes, you must. No,
the pointy ears on the bat cycle? Do you think that increases the likeliness of him impaling himself on his
I'm just gonna say, I definitely think the video that Stuntman is dead. They told us he's fine. He is definitely dead. No, they're just made out of paper mache or something like that. I'm sure they crumple. Did I ever say Sonic made $26.3 million and Call of the Wild made 25?
Okay.
So Call of the Wild is a flop. You know why?
Why?
It cost $125 million to make.
Because they took a person to animate a dog. That's why.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
I got no idea.
Oh my goodness.
You love your streaming services, don't you?
It depends.
Well, they're about to get somewhat smaller.
Uh-oh.
The universe of streaming services. Comcast wants to buy Vudu.
Oh boy.
Now, did you know that Vudu is owned by Walmart?
I did not know that.
No, Vudu. It's like Pepsi when they don't have Coke. Vudu is when nobody else has the movie. We need to watch a Dolph Lundgren movie. Vudu.
Yeah, right.
Which is weird. It should be all voodoo related content. So the Serpent and the Rainbow, Live and Let Die.
Right.
If you stretch it, maybe Treme, the HBO series instead of New Orleans.
Sure.
Hard Target.
There you go.
All Creole / the American voodoo experience.
Sure.
I'm please help
voodoo.
me out of this. I'm impaled on pointy-eared motorcycle.
Okay, wow. I'm kind of curious as to why Comcast is voodoo. Is it because it's owned by Walmart? Why voodoo?
Because they don't. Comcast is NBC Universal. Right? It's all cable town.
Yeah.
And so they have a share, but not a controlling share. No. Yeah, in Hulu, right?
Yes.
Because Disney controls Hulu or has the controlling shares. So they need to make a move to diversify and probably split off, try to get out of from under the thumb of the big white glove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good, but I like big white glove.
Yeah, why not Tubi or something like that? Why
Why not Tubi?
Yeah.
Why not Bilbo?
Yeah.
Why not Wigwam? Why not Zapper?
I feel like anybody could make up the name of a streaming service.
What was the birth control? Yes, it was. That was it.
Oh my gosh, what?
You're not gonna remember this because anyway, there was a short-lived birth control called Yaz.
Oh no, I remember seeing those ads. Yes. Or should I say yes instead of yes?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay.
That's not where that came from. 15 years later, the person who created Yaz heard somebody go, Yaz, Queen, and they're like, that's the missing link. It's too late. It's too late now.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I do remember Yaz.
It might be still around.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is. So
how could it be?
You'd be surprised.
The commercial and a bunch of women come on. They're like, "We're gonna paint. We're gonna get paint all over stuff."
Yeah.
And maybe my mind just makes me think the paint was red. Nobody's that dumb, right?
Yeah.
They're just painting all kinds of colors, but keep the idea of staining liquids out of your birth control.
I agree.
Commercials, right?
I agree.
I know they don't have anything to but it's just the whole idea of. Am I doing a good job?
You're doing fine.
I don't feel like I'm doing a good job.
You're doing good.
Today.
Yeah.
You know who's doing a good job?
Who?
Brought it right back. HBO Max is going to produce a Friends special.
Oh boy. I don't know how I feel about that.
The entire cast.
Okay. All right. People will watch it.
Boy, is your face red, Netflix.
Wow.
Dum-dum.
Yeah.
If they're in like a court case, is it like, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Dum-dum. All right, we're good.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited about this. I'm not. I used to love Friends like a lot when it was originally on.
A long time ago, there used to be Friends.
Yes, exactly. I don't really care right now.
What's
going on with them? So
Okay.
I guess it's a big news story.
We are
though,
not
so.
talking about that anymore. I guess it's a big news story. I feel like this is subtle criticism of me.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
Lucasfilm has announced a new Star Wars film that's being developed.
Okay, do we know anything about it?
Here's what we know.
Okay.
We know that Slight writer-director J.D. Dillard and Luke Cage writer Matt Owens are teaming up to create this film.
That tells me next to nothing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Why is Star Wars like having like 4 or 5 different films in
they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, okay.
That's why.
Isn't Kathleen Kennedy, isn't she supposed to be like at the wheel with this stuff?
I don't know if is that all she does? She must do other stuff, right? Or is she just...
I thought she was just Star Wars lady.
Just do Star Wars.
That's what I thought.
I mean, it's a big enough property that probably...
Somebody needs to mind the store.
Well, we already have a couple people doing it. But...
Yeah.
I still think that Kevin Feige is looking to jump ship.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
From his Star Wars movie?
Look, I know the guy's got a couple comics in his basement, but he is a Star Wars fan. He loves Star Wars.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be surprised.
That always makes people objective.
Yeah, I know.
We don't know anything about it. From what I know, it's in development, but not green lit. So it's just weird. It's here's what I like about it. Even though I wasn't too impressed with Luke Cage, the show, and I don't really know anything about Slight.
No.
But one of them, I think J.D. Dillard is a minority creator, or maybe from the Luke Cage thing.
Okay.
Again, am I doing a good job this week?
You are.
So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited that these aren't people that we know. Oh.
What? You just groaned.
I feel like there was more. I've never heard of these guys, but I guess if Slight was like, "Oh, well, that's pretty good. We got to get him in it," then it's just another Rian Johnson, Gareth Edwards situation.
Yeah. Not terribly excited about it, but yeah.
Well, here's a real pro. The guy's name's Eli Roth, and he's making a Borderlands movie.
Wow.
For Lionsgate. Now, it's kind of 1 out of 3 ain't bad. Don't care about Eli Roth.
No.
Don't care. All Lionsgate movies are bad for the most part. Mm-hmm. Gemini Man, a Lionsgate movie?
Probably.
And Borderlands. It's kind of fun to play, but I mean, there's a lot of story there. I don't know if it'd be a good movie or not. Here's the story.
Well, yeah.
In the future, there is a planet that's not Earth. People have colonized it. There's all kinds of crazy creatures on it, and then like it's sort of Old Westy, and people come there to seek their fortune. And supposedly there's a vault that is rumored to exist that has all the jewels or ice cream in it or whatever.
Sure.
It's a refrigerated vault.
Yeah. Do you think that we're going to see more video game movies with Sonic doing well?
Yes. We'll see how Free Guy does. I know it's not based on anything specific.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely.
Okay. If Eli Roth wasn't doing this, would you be more excited about it? Because
maybe.
He's like a horror movie guy, right?
Yes, but...
That's basically what he's made his nut on.
Can you not?
Okay, sorry.
Did you say baby nut? Did you say baby nut?
No.
Yeah, but he's also he's done other stuff, and he's shown no skill as a director or writer.
Right.
He's just a guy, I'm assuming that his family has money, who just grew up loving horror movies and has the crazy self-confidence of a rich white guy.
Right.
And there's Hollywood. Like, that's the 90% of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, baby! Because they're doing a reboot of Kung Fu.
What?
Yes.
Kung Fu?
Forgive me if I don't get these exactly right, but Zima and King Huatan are two actors who are starring in the reboot on the CW of Kung Fu.
What was the original Kung Fu?
It was a TV show.
It was a TV show?
In the 1970s.
Oh, okay.
David Carradine.
Okay.
Who's David Carradine?
He was Bill in Kill Bill.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And so why would we stunt cast this guy as an old Kung Fu guy?
Yeah, right.
Right. He was Kwai Chang King. Why do we talk about the rest of this stuff? Lead buried. Here we are. This is our meat. This is our bread and butter and our dumplings right here.
Okay.
He was a white guy.
Obviously.
It's Iron Fist. It's Iron Fist.
Yeah.
He's a white guy who lives in the Old West times. He was trained by the master, and now he wanders the earth. It's like he said, speaking of Tarantino, at the end of Pulp Fiction, Jules is like, I'll be like Kane, I'll just wander the earth.
Sure.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
And so he's like the Incredible Hulk. He goes from town to town.
Sure.
They're like, we don't want your kind here. He's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And then he beats up a bunch of guys, and they need help with the farm or something, and then the bandits come and he beats them up. He's got to go.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds good that they're redoing it with actors who are actually Asian.
But
does
it work at all? The whole premise is that
it's a white guy
learned Kung Fu.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I mean, Shanghai Noon is kind of the flip, right? A Chinese guy's a cowboy?
Right.
And for that, I think that's the cleverest thing about that entire franchise. But, you could just tell a story about whatever. I guess he's still called it Kung Fu so people know what it is, but it's not really Kung Fu. And I'm not doing a thing, it's not my Kung Fu. I'm not just saying, if you update a racist premise...
Yeah.
It's still kind of racist, isn't it? Or appropriative.
Yeah. I think you've got a point there.
Or you're not doing bamboozled. There's no way to take this back.
Right.
It's just like a not great idea that you're turning into, oh no, it's good.
Right.
But there's a lot of things you could do.
You could just do a martial arts sitcom, and it doesn't have to be called Kung Fu.
Yeah, let's remake Soul Man.
Yeah, right.
And so a black student wants to get into Harvard, but he wears whiteface so he can pretend like he's one of the administrators.
Yeah.
And then he moonlights as the student.
Yeah, that's
his secret identity.
Yeah.
This is going to happen. We got to destroy this. We got to destroy this.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'll be on the CW. And I want to check that out. I think it might be pretty good. Speaking of things that are pretty good, guess who's joining the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series on Disney Plus?
Who?
I'll give you one guess.
Okay.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Superman.
Carl
Lumley.
The
voice
Martian
of
Manhunter.
The Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, okay. The voice
punch this with your metal arm. Yeah, who is it? He's a live action actor, but also a voice actor. He appeared, I believe, as John Jones's father on the CW Supergirl series.
Oh, really?
Yes, because
okay.
Actor who you would absolutely know him. Name I can't remember, plays John on that series. But
okay.
They had him come in and play the grandfather.
Okay,
or
cool.
Father of the father. So he'll be in a specified role, because of course.
Okay.
On this show.
Interesting.
You're talking about him a little bit.
Do you think he'll be like a soldier too? Because they both have background being soldiers and that sort of thing.
If you can think of something that would just have a voice, maybe it's that.
Oh, sure.
If one of them has a computer that talks to them,
yeah.
I don't want to what's the opposite of colorblind casting? Vision casting?
Yeah.
Wrong show.
Yeah, right.
Maybe he's related to Sam in some ways. Maybe it's like Sam's dad.
Okay, sure. I mean, we don't know much about Sam's family. We
know
nobody
does because
Bucky.
I think they jettisoned his backstory, because his backstory in the comics is kind of problematic. Like,
Oh.
he's a petty thief named Snap Wilson who was running with the gangs and had a
Whoa.
zoot suit and a big hat with a feather in it. It's like, whoa.
I think it's a good thing they changed that.
Who do we yell at for that?
Yeah.
I think Stan Lee created Falcon, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Stan Lee and somebody else. So.
All right.
So yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. What about this? What about this? What about the movie The Saint?
What about the
Val
movie
Kilmer?
The Saint?
Don't he can look like anybody. Who's that guy in the beret and the Van Dyke and the John Lennon glasses? It couldn't be The Saint.
I don't think I ever saw the movie The Saint.
The Saint is... Boy,
No?
you ain't missing nothing.
Okay.
Unless you see it, like it, and then want to talk about it on Craft Disservices.
Okay.
The Saint is a movie remake of a television show from the 60s?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe late 60s, early 70s. That starred Roger Moore
Okay.
as Simon Templar, the Saint.
Okay.
He is a orphaned boy who became a master thief.
Sure.
But he's also works for justice, and so he, we're talking about trends before.
Uh-huh.
You rip your face off, and I'm somebody else.
Yeah,
that
right,
was really
right.
big at that time too.
Sure.
So it was like kind of a Mission Impossible type thing where he would have to trick people with disguises.
Okay, sure.
And be super charming because he's Roger Moore.
Of course.
We didn't nail that with Val Kilmer in The Saint. We didn't get it.
Okay.
So they're going to try again.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be directed by Dexter Fletcher, who directed Rocket Man. And to be fair, his name is on... his name isn't on Bohemian Rhapsody. That was the big fight, wasn't it? It's still... But he took over for Bryan Singer after he was fired off of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, okay.
So, and it's going to be at Paramount. So it's good.
Oh, boy. Do we know who's starring as the Saint yet?
I don't think they have anything yet.
Okay.
Who's your Saint?
Oh boy, got to be really charming and disarming. What about James Marsden?
Come on.
No.
I mean, Paramount. Maybe they've got him on a old style multi-picture deal. Or something.
Right.
We own you. We'll have you acting against CGI characters for the rest of your career.
No.
What about Usher? He's in movies.
Oh boy, is he? Yeah.
He's an actor. I don't know if this guy's an actor.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Who would be a good fit for this?
For The Saint?
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs? I'd actually watch that. I like that answer.
He's in The Family. Well, he is now. It's a CBS Viacom Family.
Yeah.
Put a funny wig on him and put a Rasta wig on him, and he's like, "Hey, man."
No.
Like, this guy's fine. Let him through.
I do want to see Jason Isaacs in more things. I think he's a talented guy, even though maybe he's not necessarily the easiest to work with.
I don't know what he's doing. Oh, that's not true.
Is it not true?
No, I've never heard anything like that. I know that he's there. There is that quality that he brings to his characters doesn't not exist in him. He's not getting that from space, but he saves it for the political enemies of America. He's a very active tweeter and tweets very vociferously against the people in power who he's not a fan of, and he saves it for that. You think he's got a bunch of dogs running around his house that are scared of him?
No. Nothing
with kick marks on their sides?
Nothing like that.
No.
No. I guess I was just thinking of the tweets, so that's pretty harmless. So.
Well, here we are at the bottom of the barrel.
Oh boy.
And it looks like Entertainment One, who we talked about in a previous story, who bought Hasbro, the toy company,
right,
has finally begun. The title of this article is Delving into the Treasure Chest of Brands.
Oh boy. Wow. They
bought the company for $3.8 billion.
That's a lot of money.
And they've been looking through the treasure chest of IP. And here are the toys they found. Dungeons and Dragons, G.I. Joe, Power Rangers, Action Man, and Transformers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What was the first one you mentioned again? It was like
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Do you think that like Dungeons and Dragons toys are like super popular? Like figurines that you use for gaming, yes. But like, is there like a huge following for like toys that are marketed towards gamers? Like
there are sets, and I mean it's hard to sell a doll or an action figure of D&D because there's no you know, I don't like this. Like we remember the D&D cartoon show, but there's no like D&D property that's on every week.
Right.
Fantasy is weird, and it's a tough row to hoe sometimes. It's a tough spell to learn or whatever. And so you don't see a lot of fantasy, and when you do, it doesn't, you know, like everybody loved Gallivant and went like 2 seasons or whatever.
Right.
Or like Merlin or Earthsea or whatever.
Or Magicians or something like that.
Yeah, but then like people were crapping themselves for Beauty and the Beast back in the day.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's so many outlets now, and there are so many of them are owned by so few companies, that you have to be able to create a lane for something like this. Mm-hmm. You have the Dungeons and Dragons show. You call it Dungeon. We're comfortable with colons now. So Dungeons and Dragons, Neverwinter Nights.
Sure.
Tap the Neverwinter Nights property.
Sure.
And then you center on a couple of the characters. They have a party. Sometimes they don't like roll dice or something like that.
Right.
It's a story of intrigue that instead of has ray guns in space, it just has swords and taverns and things like that.
Yeah, I think that would work.
That's happening right now on Netflix with The Witcher.
Yeah.
But The Witcher is only successful. It's not because of the quality of the show, that's for sure. Yeah, I said it. It's only successful because a bunch of people that played, like, you know, this game has made $500 million. Millions of people have played it. And so they're all showing up to watch the show.
Yeah, right. No,
but just think of all the people that know Dungeons and Dragons, or just like Dungeons and or Dragons.
Yeah, but I think you're onto something. Like in order for it to be successful as a toy line, you have to make it more specific. And in order to make it more specific, you need to have like a cartoon or a show that follows a specific group of people.
Right.
Yes.
Mernick. The half dark elf.
Sure.
He has a destiny. He has a ruby pendant that was given to him by his nursemaid that was raising him as a child.
Sure, yeah.
But it turns out the nursemaid was actually his mother. He won't know that until the end of season 2. And she told him that he had a destiny. She was eaten by kobolds gone, right? And so he is seeking to find this destiny, but he's taken a wrong turn. So now he is, he's slumming it, and he is an apprentice in the Thieves Guild, but he hates his job because everybody's a jerk and they're stealing, and he's trying to get out of this, and he meets a ragtag band of adventurers, Dragonborn. We don't have the budget for that. Human. We can get a short actor. Halfling.
An elf.
Right.
Yeah.
We can do ears. Right. And then they all, it's done. Writes itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Renee Echevarria is kind of doing it right now on Carnival Row.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I understand.
Only not really.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
I wish it was more intriguing.
Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this about that show. I think it's too smart.
Really?
Here's what I mean by that.
Please explain.
I think the premise is too obsessed with being smart. I think it would be cool to have World War I, or what is it, like hussar type soldiers fighting fairies. Good enough. But they're like, let's put a social. What's the social element?
Yep.
Is this girl with a bustle gonna make it with this minotaur or whatever? Come on, just
I know.
Get to the good stuff.
Yeah,
these
I
people,
agree.
Are these pig men going on strike? It's like, I see what you're doing. I think it's smart, but it's too smart. Who cares?
Well, I read so many books about fairies. I would love to watch a show about fairies, but make it more intriguing. And
Sabrina is kind of about fairies. They're just demons instead of fairies, right?
Well, you do make
it's
a good
show
point.
Where
an
attractive young
witch
heroine, with a potential with a blessed bloodline, you know what I mean, with a legacy bloodline, has to deal with all these creatures and powers that want to manipulate her and each other.
Yep.
It's just hellfire and pitchforks instead of wings and
no, it's
fairy
true.
gates or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. So
that's why you like it.
yes, that is why I like it.
I finally understand.
Wow, really? Do you remember where you were when you heard that Dwayne McDuffie had passed?
I did. I was at work, and I was
Okay.
listening to a podcast, because that's work now.
Yeah.
Side commentary, socio-political. Do any of us, we're all worried about our jobs,
Yeah.
but like none of us, we can all be replaced, right?
Wow.
I mean, people like him, like Dwayne McDuffie, can't be replaced. He's
Right.
writing and creating all this stuff.
Right.
But we're all just punching buttons, right?
Wow. I don't know. I hate,
can't wait.
hate to say that.
Hey, we didn't care when car workers lost their jobs because robots took them, but pretty soon a robot inside a computer is going to be doing what you do, and then good luck.
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about Dwayne McDuffie.
Yes,
I
let's.
was listening to a very, I won't name them, a very famous podcast, though, by two comics journalists.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered them late. Now, this was 9 years ago now. I don't even know if they're still on. But at that time, I discovered them, and they had been on for like 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
And this was kind of a boring job I was doing. So I was listening through to like 6 or 7 years of their show
Sure.
and hearing things as we went. So I remember like when New 52 was announced on their show, and I'm like, oh, that's what year we're in.
Okay.
And hearing their reactions to that. And I either got to present day, or I just decided to listen to one of their recent episodes instead of them talk about Flashpoint or whatever.
Sure.
And I remember them commenting on Dwayne McDuffie dying and being like, wait, what?
Yeah, right. Hold the phone.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It was just so sudden. He was 49.
Yeah, he was really young.
And yeah, it was out of nowhere. And it was just, it was shocking because he had done so much stuff. Not a lot of people knew like his name or knew him specifically, but he had done so many things that I liked and appreciated.
Yeah. Sure.
And was into. And yeah, I mean, that was it. He was gone.
Do we know now, like, why he passed? Like, what was the cause of?
Officially, it's, he died from complications of surgery. But
oh man, that's rough.
I don't know for sure, but I think he had like a heart attack or like a cardiac thing that required emergency surgery.
Sure.
And
then complications.
And they just weren't able to bring it home. So
isn't that just scary though? Like, I mean, I think that we, as humans, we know to a certain extent that there's always a possibility of things not going well with surgery, but it's really scary when it actually happens. I think when you're doing something to try to save your life or make your life better, and then something awful happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty good at knowing when we need to do stuff from a critical care perspective.
I suppose, yeah.
When I go into the doctor and I'm like, my elbow hurts when I do this, and they go, well, don't do that anymore.
Right.
I don't have a lot of faith in the medical system, but
Right.
when you come in with like, perforated aorta or something like that, they usually know to kick things off and get things
That's
started
true.
right away. So,
yeah.
Just more about our healthcare industry. A lot of times I feel like it's, not that great or that important.
Our healthcare system?
Yes.
Okay.
Case in point, you're looking at it. Like, I'm not bragging. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I haven't been to the doctor in over 15 years.
Yeah.
Because nothing's wrong with me
Right.
that I know about.
Right.
Lemon-sized tumor growing in my head. That would explain a lot.
Oh, stop.
But yeah, so, and it's fine. And I don't want to waste their time. The times that I felt like something was wrong and I tried to waste their time, they didn't give me the time of day. So maybe there's a lot of resentment there.
Yeah, I get
But then I hear, just freak things that happen. A friend of mine was mowing the lawn, and he's like, my arm feels weird. My shoulder's just kind of hurting and stuff like that. Goes inside, gets worse. Now he's got chest pains. He's like, oh, I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Right.
Just called the ambulance, took him down, gave him the stuff he needed or whatever, checked him out, said, okay, it's probably going to be okay. But if he hadn't known any better, or if he had felt that way running from a saber-toothed tiger,
Right.
no more my friend.
Right.
And just little things like that where it's like, oh, this thing came out of nowhere. You've got a bone growth or something like that. We found it. Another friend of mine was experiencing like sort of digestion issues, just feeling kind of weird. And they were looking at it. They're like, oh, it's you got a little cancer in there.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what? Were you looking for cancer?
Yeah.
No, I just noticed on the scan here. Let's get you in there. Start treating that cancer. They hadn't found that because of that stupid little checkup he was having.
Right.
Who knows where he'd be?
Yeah. My dad was playing golf, and he was having like he's had high blood pressure, which runs in the family, and like he was kind of having
to personalize everything. This could have just been a friend of yours, but you're like, my dad, Bob Wilson, who lives at 32-1.
All right.
But anyway, yeah.
And he had kind of a scare, and he had to go to
and the blood pressure that runs in my family.
Yeah, all right. Went to the hospital and got treated, got on medication, and ended up being fine. But yeah, it's it's scary things like that happen like out of the blue, more or less.
Yeah. So I guess be serious about your health care.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Dwayne was neglecting it or anything like that,
right.
But I think if you want to learn a life lesson, if not lessons from his work that you can get in creating interesting characters and stories and stuff like that, if you want to learn this lesson, get checkups and just take care of yourself.
Right.
Your dad was so now I'm doing it.
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't exactly the age that Dwayne was, but it's a similar age for a lot of guys and for a lot of women. Heart disease is a leading killer of women as well,
right?
Where you just sort of move into a new phase of your life where it's called the be careful phase.
Right.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
You're not a volleyball anymore. You're more of but you're not a Fabergé egg.
Right.
What's an object that's in the middle? No, you are a volleyball.
You are a volleyball?
Yeah.
Okay.
A soccer ball, kick it, do whatever.
Right.
A volleyball, didn't the gym teacher ever yell at you for kicking a volleyball?
I don't think I ever did kick a volleyball, but I bet
the
if
way
I
that
did,
it's covered, it's only
at.
For setting, bumping, and all that. You kick it, you can knock the leather off of it. Oh, so you are a volleyball.
I see. You gotta be careful.
I think we're getting closer and closer here. And then you're a Fabergé egg.
Right.
In your older age.
Yes, exactly.
Dwayne comes from Detroit. He was born and raised in Detroit. Did you know that it's not until Dwayne passed, but Keegan-Michael Key, the actor and comedian, realized that he was Dwayne's half-brother by their father.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, just to have apropos of nothing.
Did they know each other?
No, I don't think so. So it's just, it's kind of weird.
Well, that's like a little upsetting, like you to find that out after he's passed, but
yeah, but I mean, like you don't, if your dad gets divorced and has another family or something like that, you don't know. You don't hang out with them.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Although he probably watched Key and Peele and he's like, that guy's pretty funny. He's got my dad's eyes. It's weird. He got a master's degree in physics from University of Michigan, and he moved to New York, and he attended film school at Tisch in New York.
Very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, and he ended up working for Marvel and writing a lot of titles for Marvel. He created the damage control idea.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
It was a comic at first, and then is something that exists in the Marvel universe and showed up in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And also worked for DC and Archie, and then founded Milestone Media as well.
Very nice.
Yeah, and got involved in writing these Justice League cartoons.
Yes.
Which we're going to talk about.
Yes. Justice League, you introduced me to the Justice League cartoons, and I'm so very glad that you did. Because, I mean, I think that I learned a lot about these wonderful DC characters that I didn't know before, and like how they related to each other and that sort of thing. And you introduced me to one of my favorite characters of all time,
Chica Halcón.
Yes, Hawk Girl from the Justice League cartoon, and she doesn't really exist in the exact same form in the comics.
No.
So
not really.
But I love that character so much. She's one of my all-time favorites, and I really love her relationship to Jon Stewart, who plays Green Lantern who is Green Lantern in the series.
Right.
And we get to see part of that relationship kind of forming in one of these episodes, so that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's really incredible the work that they did, and Dwayne didn't just write some of these things. He produced and he was the story editor on 69 out of the 91 episodes.
Wow.
So when you do that, you are basically the person who oversees what the scripts look like when they come in.
Make sure the story is consistent, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily writing them, but when it comes through you're the guy that's saying like, well, this is Justice League, this part isn't. Let's try to rework this. And so you sort of affect the flavor of the show. Let's
have this character refer back to a previous episode here, or that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I think this series is probably one of the strongest animated series that I've ever
watched. That's
the
answer to the question that you asked before. Oh, I didn't get it. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. But it's so good. It's so good. And I feel like a huge part of that is what Dwayne McDuffie has did to make it as good as it was.
Yeah, for sure. And he's somebody who understood the characters really, really well. Up to this point in what they call like the Tim verse or the Dini verse, they should really come up, just call it the Tim Dini verse.
Yes, I agree.
Tim Dini?
Tim Dini, I like that.
The Dini Tim verse? Yeah, the Tim Dini verse.
Tim Dini. Sounds kind of like Houdini.
Starting with Batman and going on to the new Batman and Robin Adventures, moving into a Superman Adventure show, and then moving into Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and how everything that comes out takes what came before as continuity.
Yeah, yeah.
So in an episode like the one we're going to talk about first here, the two-parter episode called Hereafter, it opens with the Superman Revenge Squad wanting to take down Superman. Now, Superman Revenge Squad is something from the comic books, and it consists of, various people. It'd be weird to not have Luthor in the Superman Revenge Squad.
Right.
But he was off doing something else at this point.
Right.
But every single one of the characters in the Revenge Squad, Metallo, Toyman, Weather Wizard, Livewire, and Calabac, have all had specific run-ins with Superman, either in Justice League or in his show.
Right.
Like Livewire came from his show.
Sure. Yeah. So they all have a reason for wanting revenge, which I think is important.
Yeah. To be on the squad.
Yeah, exactly. I heard Calabac wrong, and I thought it was Caliban.
Yeah.
I was gonna. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Blame
Got
Jack Kirby.
that? Blame who?
Jack Kirby. I was gonna sue Jack Kirby, but I figured that train has sailed. So.
Yeah, probably.
What happens in Hereafter?
Well, the Superman Revenge Squad meets, and they're going to plan something to get back at Superman. And they are attacking Metropolis at the beginning, and Toyman has created some it's some like weird toy thing that like shoots this beam and then like things disappear. We don't know where they go. He shoots it at various like city blocks and buildings within Metropolis, and they just disappear, and you see the pipes and everything. And then he threatens, I think specifically Wonder Woman and Batman, and Superman's like, no! And he goes in front of him and blocks it and gets hit with the beam.
Right.
They assume the worst. They assume that he's been killed. And so they have a funeral for him. But Batman, because he's Batman, doesn't believe that he's been killed, and he's doing his thing as a detective and investigating like what actually happened.
Yeah, they have a funeral for Superman, and he's like, Master Bruce, it's time to go to the funeral. There's no point. He's not dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you could go to the funeral.
Right.
Perhaps Ma and Pa Kent would enjoy seeing you there.
I know.
You asshole.
Even freaking Lex Luthor goes to the funeral.
Yeah, I got something to say about that, but keep going.
that's basically, so the episodes we're talking about are two-parters that are back to back.
Yeah.
So that is like largely the first episode, and like they lay Superman to rest, or like I'm assuming is an empty coffin.
Yeah, I don't know what they buried.
Yeah, and it's like this huge, like, some grave site with kind of like a
memorial.
Yeah, a memorial. Thank you. For Superman. Everybody's wearing black bands on their arms. It's very sad.
And Snapper Carr is there.
Yeah. And then all of the bad guys that were against Superman and everything.
Is this scene by scene, or is this a synopsis?
They're attacking Metropolis at the end, and everybody is fighting them. And they're at the Watchtower, and Lobo comes by, and like
I totally forgot that the main man was in this one.
Yeah,
you just think like, okay, it's a two-parter. It's Superman dying, and then having to deal with the effects of that, and then maybe he's not dead. We could probably kill like an hour with that. 2 22-minute episodes.
Yeah.
But then we started watching it, and I was like, oh no, there's got to be something in the middle here. And then like, hey, what's up, super jerks? It's the main man. Oh, that's right. Brad Garrett Lobo is here.
Yeah, exactly. So nobody is super thrilled with him being there, but he kind of helps them out. And then do you want me to go on to episode 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want you to get out of episode 1.
Okay, so episode 1 ends, and we see Superman unconscious somewhere, and that's how it ends. So we pick up for the second episode of the same thing, and he is on some planet, we don't know where, with all of the stuff that has been disappeared. So a bunch of cars and like some sidewalk and stuff like that. So he gets to work, and he siphons gas out of all the cars, and he takes like the really fancy car, and like he kind of like, he gets a signal, like he's like tracking, like it's like probably from the Watchtower, and so he's gonna go closer to that symbol and everything. He fights some wolves, and he's basically in survival man mode. And then he meets Vandal Savage at he gets to the Watchtower, and the Watchtower is like broken and nobody's there, and he's like, what happened? And he can't find anybody else. And then Vandal Savage shows up, and he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm immortal. And apparently a couple of days after Superman disappeared or died, Vandal Savage like basically ruined the Earth and killed everybody. He defeated the Justice League and everything, and he's now since repented on that, and they working on his time machine, which he kind of started but didn't finish, and they're going to send Superman back in time. And he's like, okay, also I'm going to steal something from this one scientist guy, make sure I don't do that, and then I can't make my weapon. And so that's basically what happens, and Superman gets sent back in time, and he saves everything.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What else you got? I don't know if I'd buy that as a pitch.
Wow.
You can't, we could just do a reading of the script. Do you know what I mean? You always try to get every single detail in, and it doesn't, it doesn't.
I'm not very good at...
Superman's, Superman appears to die, and the world must mourn. The world must deal with that loss, while the Justice League deals with their new member, Lobo, the Cesarnian. And then part 2, Superman awakens on a world under a red sun.
Yes. Can
he survive long enough to find the secret of returning home?
Right.
Done.
Okay.
This is what I always loved about Justice League, and definitely Justice League Unlimited, is the Justice League series is a little more, was like 2 seasons, right? And it's a little more self-contained. There's still continuity going on, but you always get 2-part episodes, sometimes 3-part episodes.
Yeah.
Tell this story about these 7 characters. Then they switch to Unlimited, where they've got the classic DC Comics huge Justice League. What's Red
Right.
Tornado up to?
Right.
And instead of needing more time to tell a story, they whittled it down to like single episodes.
Yes.
Now they pulled a DS9, and like in the last half of the last season,
Right.
it became really episodic, and they take a break every once in a while to have Wally switch brains with Lex Luthor or something like that. But otherwise, it was like this continual story.
Right.
And so that is, it's impressive, and it seems like they're growing and developing as storytellers. But I think they already knew what they were doing.
Okay, sure.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think they evolved into single shot ones. I think the two-parters worked just as well, but it became, well, I think it's a better idea to not spend too much time with everybody because we want to see Stars and Stripe, and we want to see Vigilante, and we want to see all those other characters. So let's give ourselves freedom to move around more. I think it's just really smart.
Yeah, it is.
But many of these episodes in Justice League and many of the episodes of Justice League Unlimited are specifically based on pre-existing stories.
Sure.
And Dwayne had to have a big hand in this. Because, like, I know Bruce Timm knows a lot about Batman. Loves Batman. Of course he does. But I don't feel like Bruce Timm necessarily knows. I could be wrong. He could have a whole house made out of comics. But, like, does he know every single thing that happened in Warlord, or Princess Amethyst, or like all these other comics in the DC universe? And a guy like Dwayne had to be instrumental in this. So many of these things refer specifically to stuff like this is their death of Superman. Now they're not gonna. They already did Doomsday, I think, before, right? Or is Doomsday coming up?
I can't remember what the.
Well, it's when the Justice Lords things happened.
Yeah.
Before that, that's at the end of this season, right?
I think so.
Or so the second season, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the second season, because I think this season's the Thanagarians.
And they're not going to follow that exactly. So instead they just show, okay, well, let's just take Funeral for a Friend, like the part of the Death of Superman storyline where we have to bury Superman. He's got a statue with the eagle on his arm.
Right.
Superman and eagles, we know they're a big thing. And they do that here. And then in the next episode, it's like, all right, now screw that. We're doing I Am Legend. Let's just do a Richard Matheson thing where there's one man alone on Earth. He's the last man on Earth.
Right.
Fighting strange creatures and, with this goal in mind.
Yes.
Which is just... And the first episode, there's so much talking that you need to explain what's going on. You have to explain what we're going to do with Superman. We need somebody new. Characters have to share their reminiscences about Superman, and share their grief.
Right.
The second episode starts, and we do a recap, and the recap is almost completely silent.
Yeah.
It is merely images. It's Toyman shooting a thing, Superman trying to stop it, so on and so forth. And there's one thing where John goes, "Oh, we have to have a replacement for Superman."
Yeah.
So we know why Lobo's there.
Right.
Then we move into an episode that is, for the first 10 minutes, almost completely silent.
Right.
Like Superman just trying to survive on this world with a red sun.
Yes.
And he doesn't say, "A red sun, that means my powers don't work."
No.
Like we just play it out.
Right.
And it works because at the end they go get the power source, which is apparently like yellow sun energy or and so he gets all his powers back. It's like, it's so good.
It is good. And I like seeing a different side of Vandal Savage too, because we're just like, he's just a jerk and like a megalomaniac.
I like the idea that on a long enough timeline, he's good.
That he could repent and be a good guy.
Well, after destroying the entire Earth.
Yeah.
And then, basically just serving 30,000 years of penance.
Yeah.
He could be good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, it's nice to believe that he could repent, or he could be different and better, as opposed to just being immortal and a jerk. So
immortally a jerk.
Yeah.
I like that we've talked in the past when we weren't even talking about JLA. One of your favorite things to bring up is the way that the writing team had to sideline Superman.
Yeah.
Every time
because
they'd have a
he's
fight.
So powerful.
Yeah, the big guy punches Superman through a building, and then we don't see him for the rest of the fight because he could just take care of the whole thing himself.
Right.
And this seems, I don't know if Dwayne did this on purpose, but this seems like the ultimate answer to that.
Yeah.
Which is just, okay, what if we just took Superman out of the world then? What if he got punched into the future?
Right.
What then?
Right.
What if
With
he
a
didn't
red
have the
sun.
League to help him?
Yeah.
Because while he's picking, grubble out of his ass, Hawkgirl's wrapping up whatever the problem is, right? What if it was just him on his own?
Yeah.
And no powers. He's just a man. And we see that, we see the man instead of the super.
Right.
And he gets it done.
Yeah. And he's able to survive and even like thrive in his changing circumstances.
Yeah.
He has a single signal and he keeps moving towards it and we don't know what it is, and then we see the watchtower and it's dilapidated and we're like, whoa, what is happening? And then we find out that this is Earth so many years in the future. And I think that was a really good reveal as well. I guess it's a little disconcerting that like he goes to the watchtower and he's trying to look for all of his friends and it just says unknown, and it says that he's present,
Right.
And you would think that the watchtower would know, oh, they're dead. That was thousands of years.
Well, nobody
ago.
put their files in the dead folder.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So
It's not there.
No manual override. So
they don't spend a lot of time on it. It's a kid's show. Also, we've got other things to do, like show the effect of his quote-unquote death on the other people in his circle. But yeah, we do have a nice little funeral, and John says, something to the effect of kind of what I said, that he was super, but he was also a man. It reminds me of that SNL skit with Hulk not good with words.
Oh, sure.
So Hulk, write this down. And then, you mentioned that Luthor shows up. I love, Lois Lane is one of my favorite comic book characters, period, but she looks real bad here. Because she just does that. You brute, I hate you.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, you think Lois wouldn't have the best, there's the wickedest,
comeback?
burn or something like that to just make him walk out in shame, but no. And he's running for president at this point, right? This is just a campaign appearance for him.
He was or not, but yeah.
It reminds me of a storyline in Daredevil called Daredevil's gonna die.
Oh boy,
he's dead. Nightfall. Wow. Used to be the world's greatest Daredevil fan. Now, not so much.
Wow.
Where Daredevil, his secret is revealed. Was it? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, he has to fake his death.
Okay.
Everybody thinks he's dead, and the Kingpin comes to his funeral too.
Okay,
and people are like,
sure.
What is he doing here? Yeah.
Right.
And then so they're all saying their goodbyes, and Foggy's like, I'll see you on the other side, buddy. And Karen's like, oh boy, it's so sad. And Kingpin's like, spits on his coffin and is like, rot slowly.
Whoa. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Another bald, evil, bad guy.
Yeah. Good point.
It's going around. How familiar are you with Lobo?
Not really at all, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
He looks like he's like the fifth member of Kiss or something. He
does.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say except Keith Giffin's a weird guy.
Yeah. He's huge too. Like he could be like a Hulk almost.
I think he is huge, but I never thought of him as being taller than like John.
Oh, sure, because John is just kind of a towering presence. Yeah.
He's kind of like, DC's Space Wolverine.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Calls people bub a lot.
Yeah. His motorcycle that he can just call to him and stuff like that.
And it's funny, again, I know that Dwayne's name is on this. I don't know how much of this specifically are his choices, but it's the worst thing that's ever happened. Superman's dead.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Right.
And then
Lobo.
What's up, you bastages?
Yeah.
Just such a weird breaking of the tension and just something that you wouldn't expect. Although it does kind of make sense. He is a Superman level guy, and so you need somebody like that. We'd love to have Speedy on the team, but he's not going to fill in for Superman.
Right. Well,
Superman.
And he just kind of crashes into the watchtower, it's not even like he like knocks or, I mean, he just like busts in on the scene and is like, hey, I'm here. Y'all are happy to have me, and lucky to have me and all this stuff. And it's like everybody is super annoyed with him. And like, they're like, you're not Superman. And the only reason they bring him with is because they don't want to leave him alone on the watchtower.
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah, they have to bring him down to, he ends up beating up Worf pretty good, so.
What
Calabac.
Yeah, Calabac, yeah.
Who, does he get a lot of opportunity to moonlight from Apocalypse? Like, shouldn't he be on Apocalypse plotting to destroy New Genesis?
Probably, yeah.
Why is he hanging out with Copperhead robbing banks?
It's a really good question.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it seems like peanuts compared to New Genesis.
It's
stuff.
like Thor, patrolling Queens with Spider-Man looking for purse snatchers.
Yeah, it's an odd choice.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he just hates Superman that much.
Speaking of Marvel Comics, there's some great stuff in this, as there is in almost every JLA episode, where you've got the great group-on-group fights.
Yeah.
So you've got a group that, I'm trying to think of their makeup and if they match up to any DC group, but it doesn't matter. You got an assortment of DC villains fighting the Justice League, and they, in that great Claremontian tradition of them swapping partners and using powers in interesting ways. So, Star Sapphire has fought Green Lantern to a standstill, but then Hawkgirl swoops in and knocks her out, but then Copperhead wraps himself around her and starts throttling her. So John puts his fist through his head or whatever.
Right.
I think I'm starting to go off the track here, but yeah, just that it isn't just 5 people will fight 5 people in the ring. It's like a battle royale.
Right.
And tracking that is tougher than you'd think.
Uh-huh.
Because how do their powers interact with each other? Can this character, if 2 characters flying in the sky, can Batman even do anything because he can't get up there? Like, who's available to help out to change this situation? It's like a sport. It's like soccer or hockey. Like, you've got the puck and you pass it away. Well, who's going to take the puck, and then who's going to be the defender that goes after the attacker? And I made hockey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Example.
Well, and then I like how they send Superman back, and they send him back not to the exact time and place where he disappeared, but a few days later, where they are fighting the villains in Metropolis.
It just saves on animation, right?
Yeah, I suppose they don't
have to draw anything.
It's convenient.
New. Yeah.
Yeah.
They even put about 45 seconds in of previously shown animation.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, we've established that we're back here, but I guess I get how budgets work. Budgets were a problem on this. Some of the normal voice actors who are well-known actors were not able to come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure who voices Livewire usually, but Maria Canals, who does Hawkgirl, did her in this episode.
Oh, okay.
And Bud Cort wasn't around to do Toyman, so they had to replace him. And also Malcolm McDowell usually does Metallo, but they couldn't get him back for this. But they are back in JLU later.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Huh. So they just had to go with what they had, I guess, because of... Yeah.
Totally. Often you'll hear a guard that sounds a lot like Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
Or I wonder do you think Kevin Conroy ever does that? Or I mean, he's Kevin Conroy, right?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Probably doesn't job like that. But I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, anything else to say about Hereafter? Because there won't be anything else to say Hereafter.
Oh, I see what you did there. No, I liked it. Like Wonder Woman has this one line about like, "Ooh, I like the beard. Are you keeping it?" And he's like, "Not a chance." How does he shave his hair?
Good question.
He must have to have a really sharp razor, or like some metal that's like from a yellow sun or something like that. I don't know.
Well. Do you want the answer?
Oh my gosh, sure.
He can use his heat vision.
Sure.
If he can see it.
Sure.
So he can line the back of a mirror with lead, and it will reflect. And this happened in a comic in the late 70s.
Wow.
Once. A real Kurt Swan situation.
Okay.
If you're Ducky in Superman 4, you can do it, but you need wire cutters to do it.
Wow.
Like a lock cutter.
Sure.
And then, I don't know, he probably has like a razor that's got, some razors have lights on them for some reason. Maybe it's got like a red sun light.
Okay, sure.
That just makes that one part of him vulnerable.
Okay.
Oh, here you go. Get Dr. Fate to do it.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
I have a magic straight razor just for this purpose.
Right. Sure.
Do you want to keep the sideburns? I can see that happening.
Yeah, I could too.
Let's talk about the next pair of episodes, and they're directly after these episodes. All of these episodes aired in the fall of 2003. This pair of episodes is called Wild Cards.
Yes.
And I have to say, I just got done talking about how accomplished the two-parters and everything are, but I think that I like the one-shots of JLU a lot better.
Oh, okay.
I love the Supreme Seven, but I also just love seeing the extra characters. I like it when Warlord shows up or whatever. I think it's cool. But this is, I think, my favorite two-parter of Justice League.
This is one of my favorites, and I think this is like one that I like remember, too. Like if you like had made me choose like favorites, like this would be on the list.
Right.
So I guess I'll a brief breakdown. So Joker, they're in Las Vegas. Joker has hidden several bombs throughout the city. He gets the Justice League team there, and he originally tells them it's only one bomb. And, oh, by the way, we are filming this from lots of different cameras that I have set up previously. And
it's interesting that it's Vegas.
Yeah.
With Central City, Metropolis, Gotham, DC is a fake city universe.
No, you're right.
This is specifically
That's a very
Vegas.
good point.
Yeah.
And then he also mentions that starring in this, is besides the Justice League, is the Royal Flush Gang. So this is the first time in the animated series that we see them. They were kids who had powers that the government basically, like, they were orphaned or something. I don't know, but the government did experiments on them.
As they do.
Yeah, as they do.
It happens.
And Joker broke them out, so they feel like this weird kind of affinity with him. And he's the one who did like the card kind of theme. So there's 10, Jack, King, Queen, and Ace. So there's 5 of them. And they all have like different powers and that sort of thing. They finally get out there. They defuse the one bomb. It was a fake. And then Superman, with his vision, can tell that there are 25 other bombs. And Joker has a running timer, which I think is like something like 22 minutes, and I don't remember how many seconds. And
the average length of a half an hour TV show
right,
without commercials.
Right, and it's counting down. And also we have Harley Quinn in the helicopter, who's also helping film us. So the Royal Flush Gang kind of like beats them up as they're trying to defuse these bombs. And the first episode ends with Green Lantern like basically sending a Hawk Girl outside of the building, and like there's this huge explosion. We don't know what happened to him. And then the second one opens up, and we're continuing on with the countdown. John is okay, but he's really injured. And we learn more about Ace than we had previously, and supposedly she's kind of crazy, and Joker says it doesn't affect him because he's already crazy, but if you look at her, you're gonna go crazy. And so she looks into the camera, and if you were watching the feed, you would go crazy too.
And while they do her backstory, which happens in the second episode, her eyes, it's focusing on her face, but then her eyes move to the upper third.
Yes.
And we show her backstory play out. I don't know who was filming that when she was a little girl, but the eyes are still there because the people have to see her eyes to remain possessed or crazy by her power.
Right.
Which is just such a great.
It is great.
Yeah. Just the forethought of that.
Yes. And I guess they made some sort of like headband for her that controlled her powers. Yep. And That's basically what happens. They're
How
going
does it
around.
end?
Well, they're going around defusing all the bombs and everything, and
then Batman confronts the Joker. Yes.
Because he followed Harley Quinn there, and he had the headband that controlled Ace, and so she gets upset and she confronts him, and she's like, "I'm not afraid of you," and she kind of makes him go more crazy somehow. And then like Batman's like, "Where will you go?" And she's like, "Nowhere," and she just kind of walks away. Right. Yeah. That is a very specific moment. Yeah, it is. There are other specific moments that were not mentioned in that recap. This is my thing. A recap can never recap the entire thing. The best recap is just playing the episode, right? Yes. The map is the territory. Right. In that case. Yeah. Where is John? Where is John Jones? Yeah. Really good question. Would he break this entire episode? Oh, I can fly through every casino. Well, I can read the Joker's mind to find where the bombs are. Yeah, yeah. But why isn't Wonder Woman in it? That's a really good question. I don't know why. You got 5 Justice League members. Mm-hmm. I guess they wanted 5-on-5, right? I think maybe you're right about that. Yeah, but there's 5 wild Royal Flush gangs. Yes. You got Harley Quinn. Yes. And you got the Joker. Yeah. That's 7. So that's 7. So why not have everybody there? I don't know. Wonder Woman and Manhunter are not in this. No. Speaking of Joker going crazy and Harley kind of being convinced to run out on him again. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. This is the last appearance of Joker and Harley in the DCAU. Wow. Yep. This is the Batman or the Joker ban takes effect after this, and Joker is not seen again. Oh, I did not realize that. Yep. Huh. And it would be, of course, Joker would return in Batman Beyond in his own way. Yeah. Spoil the excellent Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. And it's Arlene Sorkin's final performance as Harley Quinn. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, Tara Strong would take over after this. Okay. Speaking of Tara Strong, it's also somewhat of a Teen Titans crossover because all 5 members of the Royal Flush Gang are voiced by the voice actors behind the Teen Titans. Oh, you're kidding. Carrie Payton, Greg Seeds, Tara Strong, Scott Menville, and Hayden Watch. Wow. I did not realize that. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Had that started filming yet? I don't know. Don't ask me. Okay. Remember, you're thinking of Teen Titans Go. Well, this is Teen Titans. Oh, okay. The more serious one. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, the more serious one. If I go that far. Well, Teen Titans Go is kind of silly. It's really silly. And they're more kind of like cartoony than realistic looking. So. Yeah, I mean, you're just whistling Dixie. Yeah, okay. All right. And it sucks. Whoa! Right? Isn't that what we say? No, I don't agree either. I like Teen Titans Go. It's fun. I love it. Yeah, it's great. Yes, it's very good. It's like SpongeBob, isn't it? It's gonna go forever. Yeah, it's silly. It totally could go forever. It's absolutely, go absolutely forever. Yeah, I hope it does. Yeah. Yeah. This is another episode that is. Here's something that you never mentioned at all. Oh, okay. Throughout the entire first episode and a lot of the second episode, not only is there a clock, but the clock on screen is continually there, and it counts down. Even in 24, they didn't do this. It counts down the entire time. Yes. And the entire episode is presented and shot as if it was being seen through cameras. Yes. There are a few times that we get, say, the Joker yells at the TV crew to laugh at his joke, and we reverse to the TV crew. Nobody's filming that, right? We're just seeing that. Right. And then the very last confrontation between Batman. It's like Arrested Development. It's supposed to be a documentary, but is there a documentary guy in the bathroom when Tobias is showering in his cutoffs? How are we seeing that? Right. Right? Yeah. When Michael and Rita are going to play bum paddle, like there's no cameraman in the room. Right. So we get that at the end between the fight between Joker and Batman. But otherwise, yeah, the entire thing to the point where many of the camera angles are from the point of view of security cameras. There's a couple shots where we see like a guy holding a camera, and then we kind of switch to where his point of view might be, like watching Batman go down the strip. Yes. And then you'll also get things where presumably one of those guys is filming, and Hawker will fly by really fast, and they put a whip pan animation in. Something that's like streaks, like the person is following that character as they're flying by. Yeah.
who does this?
I know, it's really cool.
The amount of detail that they put into this is crazy.
It is crazy.
I should say that this is written by both Dwayne McDuffie and Stan Berkowitz, who worked on a lot of episodes of every show in the Batman jail Static Shock universe.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that it just shows like how clever it is, and then like
right, because any other show is just, oh no, the Joker's got some bombs in Vegas, some jokes that kids don't get about hitting the jackpot or something.
Right.
And we're done. And there's this whole conceit. It's like they were challenging themselves. It's like, could we pull this off? Could we have a episode where there's a clock in the corner and yet at the same time Joker is in a TV production studio that can see hundreds of cameras, and some of those cameras are focused on bombs, and all the bombs have the same timer, so the bomb on the timer in the TV monitor behind Joker has to match the chyron at the bottom.
Right.
Because it's all running at the same time.
Right.
Can we do this? Mm-hmm. The answer was yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's just a really clever thing that they were able to do, because also whenever we do see them discovering a new bomb, the timer on that bomb to go off matches the timer on the screen for how much time is left.
Right.
And that's just a really great detail. That
you know what another good detail is?
What?
When in the second episode, when Joker reveals that Ace is, has insanity powers.
Yes.
I finally figured out what the guy in the mouse costume was.
What was that?
That's you going insane.
Oh, okay.
I think they should have done a little more with that.
Yes, they should have.
I think that's the one part where I think probably intentionally pulled back, but could have gone farther, is that once you start seeing things, like when we break out of the conceit and then we're seeing, how do we know what Batman is seeing when he looks at Ace? Yeah. You don't want to do the whole thing like you're at the T2 experience or something like that. We're watching it from a very specific point of view.
Right.
But yeah, they did add a little thing where it's like, oh man, is that guy real? Like you're starting to go insane while you're watching it.
Okay, that makes sense, because that's just one of those things. Like, what is happening? And but you saying that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but they make very specific POV choices, and I think at some point we're getting paid by a multi-billion-dollar corporation to deliver a kids show. Maybe we can just cut it off here. We don't have to go full on like what am I seeing here? You're watching from a camera, Batman freak out, but we don't maybe see what he's seeing.
Right.
But maybe things start to happen on the frame that's supposed to represent what we do or what we're seeing while we are going insane watching this.
Right. And they showed some of the people who are operating the cameras.
Yeah, then we see what they see, and how do we see that? Yeah.
Right.
Or we could just be, well, no, the guy who's got like mice on him was like, I got mice on me.
And he was like melting into the board.
Yeah, I mean, it could be us. Yeah. I don't know if it's a consensual this is raising a lot of questions.
Yeah, right?
Does he feel like he's melting, but we're seeing him melt too?
I feel like that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I'm wrong. They went the whole way with it. First time we see Hawkgirl's face.
Mm-hmm.
He takes off her helmet.
Yeah.
Please don't be an uggo. Please don't be an uggo. Thing. And it's like, shoomp. I have to imagine she never takes it off.
I know.
And of course, she's, this Rita Hayworth looking beauty comes out. But one of her hair was just all pressed against her head. Right? She's like, give me a kiss. Were they, and they're doing a thing that they often do in this franchise where they, a little something for mom and dad there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because it starts off with this Austin Powers bit where they're like, is this it? No, I know where it is.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh, they're hacking something? And then you disagreed with me, but I think that, they do it at the end, right?
No, probably.
Because they start to kiss.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the runner with the old lady at the slot machine.
Yes.
And it's jackpot.
Yeah, I know.
It's about time.
Yeah. I know. I get it. I think you're probably right.
Batman throws up in this episode.
Yeah, I know.
Only not because it's like, you probably can't have a character throw up on a WB show, right?
Probably not.
But he goes like, ooh.
Yeah.
And they don't quite, if they got his mouth, and then he's got to spit.
Yeah.
We know that.
Right.
To sell it.
To sell it, yes.
They don't quite get his mouth out of the bottom of the frame, so it just looks like he maybe swallows it again, which I know he's a tough guy, but Batman.
That's pretty gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
Did you just throw open your mouth, Batman? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. But I think this is pretty good. And I think that the Royal Flush Gang were pretty menacing. But also I like how they're self-persevering, and at least King is like, I'm getting out of here, you know.
Why does Queen have a club on her crotch?
I don't know.
I think she had a real deep V.
She
right?
did.
Yeah. So
Put it on her
left breast
chest.
lapel.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's just on her crotch.
Yeah, it was a weird placement idea, I guess. Not really sure what they were going for with that one. But yeah, it's I think it's very entertaining, and of course Joker, I mean, who doesn't love the Joker? And
He never laughs once in this.
Oh, you're right.
Well, he doesn't do
His crazy laugh. Yeah.
I did like that the shell corporation that he bought airtime with was called like Gwynplaine. Gwynplaine is the name of the character played by Conrad Veidt in The Man Who Laughs.
Oh, okay.
Which is what Bill Finger based the Joker on.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That all checks out. I do feel bad for Harley Quinn in this because he literally throws her around.
Yeah, it feels like it does feel like they're trying to do, if you haven't seen these important beats from Joker's and Harley's relationship, Joker as a character, they do seem like they're kind of wrapping up and kissing off Joker and Harley.
Yeah.
Which they are, because they do not return.
Right.
But yeah, you get a little bit of that.
Yeah, and but I think it's we get a good juxtaposition when we see Hawkgirl and Green Lantern and their relationship kind of starting.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I was just too busy with the sex joke. Well, anyway, if you want to watch these, you can get all of these on Blu-ray.
Yes.
On Amazon.
Yes.
Very inexpensively, if you're interested. So I suggest that you check that out if that sounds good to you. Even if you are not super familiar with these characters.
I highly
which you are
recommend
not.
it. No.
And still love this series and entertained by it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention real quick before we go that Charlotte Fullerton, Dwayne's widow, who... friend of the show. We've talked to her previously. It might be hard to find our interview with her. It's a couple years ago now in our show archive. But great woman, is a nice person, TV writer and writer herself. She has established the Dwayne McDuffie Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization to award academic scholarships for diverse students.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So if you want to contribute to that, you can by going to GoFundMe at Dwayne McDuffie Fund.
Very cool.
Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll autocomplete.
Yeah, for sure.
All this people's spelling. That's Heidegger's. That's H-E-I-D. It's probably going to suggest it.
Yeah.
So just type Dwayne McDuffie Fund into Google and that'll get you there.
Yeah. I mean, I would be terrified if I ever met the Joker and he had a royal flesh gang to and not to mention 25 bombs. That would be just terrifying.
I'd be scared of Joker if he had a busted straight gang. Which sounds like an Arrested Development thing, but it's a card thing.
Yeah, no.
The busted straight gang. So that's it for our show, and thank God, because the tank is almost empty. I'm running out of gas.
You need to siphon some gas from some other
cars. I need
cars.
to siphon some mucus out of my chest.
Oh, my goodness.
We had this whole long tirade about the doctor before and how I don't need him, and 1 second. Healthy as a horse.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. We need to get a yellow sun for you so you can get back in the saddle.
If I went into... Oh my God! Just incinerated by the real sun.
Yeah.
And it's real plasma.
Okay.
If I ever had to go to the doctor and he'd be like, "Are you feeling? Do you feel sick or nauseous?" I'm like, 1 second.
We know you can fake throw up with the best of them.
But you need to have a little bit of liquid with you so you can splash it down.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're having trouble, at work, you need the day off.
Wow.
You need to convince your boss that you're sick. Then you just give him the old.
Oh my gosh, it's sickening.
And then
you're able to do that. Yeah. Okay.
And then recorded a toilet flush sound.
No. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? Yeah, I was not feeling good.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Why don't you stay home? That's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
We never stay home. We're everywhere. We're on the internet at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
Which Mikan Hana has made a paradise. If you go to our Instagram, she's giving me a look like this isn't true, but I'm going to assume it is because she said that she was going to do it. So check us out on those places on the internet at Just Enough Trope. You can also find us on your listening platform of choice. Go there and subscribe to us. You got to get the show right away.
Right.
You don't want to wait for the show.
No.
There's a new show?
Yeah.
Some guy is throwing up on command. He's making sound effects.
Oh my gosh.
It just comes right to you.
Yes.
So that's what you want to do. Also, give us a review and a rating if you think of it, because those things really help us out.
Yes, absolutely.
They help us out when we hear we could be better, when the puke sounds could be better. You got to take that, internalize it. Or I guess externalize it when you think about it.
Oh my goodness.
And so give us 5 pelts that Superman uses.
Yeah, to make a new cape.
To make a new costume, which is the same color as his old costume. Thank God I found these red and blue wolves in the future. Otherwise, no. And I feel like they probably wanted to make the symbol on the back of the alpha wolf
an S?
Closer to an S?
Yeah.
Can we give him, like, what about zigzag stripes? Would that work? It's
right.
like, forget it. It's not going to work. Come on.
They restrained themselves.
Yeah. So maybe we should have some restraint and just ask for 5 stars. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back next week to talk about something else. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.